Calling all instructional coaches, curriculum specialists, teachers on special assignment, or whatever they call you. I'm Matteo Souza.
And I'm Katie Ritter. As instructional coaches, we are often responsible for our own professional learning and can sometimes feel pretty isolated in our role.
That's why we're here, bridging the gap with a wealth of tips, tricks, and building a community of coaches.
So hit the restart button with us.
Recharge your coaching batteries.
And hopefully you'll leave feeling just a little bit less on your own coaching island.
Welcome back, everyone. Few topics in education tend to polarize our teachers just as much as artificial intelligence. Reactions range from absolute pushback and calls for banning AI in our classrooms to welcoming it with open arms as a silver bullet against any educator task. The truth is, the AI genie is out of the bottle, and we can't squeeze it back in. So whether you're an AI enthusiast, a skeptic, or somewhere in between, today's episode focuses on equipping you with the valuable insights and advice for tackling the tough AI conversations in your building, while also learning how to build AI literacy in your community. Today, we're thrilled to welcome Adam Mohler, a forward-thinking educator who's at the forefront of integrating AI into student-centered history lessons. Known for his dynamic approach to teaching, Adam leverages critical thinking, creativity, and collaborative thinking to make history engaging for his 8th graders. As the co-author of the EDU Protocols Field Guide Social Studies Edition, Adam is not just reshaping history education. He's also pioneering the conversation around AI's role in the classroom. His work consulting on AI implementation and his blog, Mohler's Musings, serve as prime platforms for discussing the transformative potential of AI in education. From enhancing EDU protocols to building essential AI skills among educators and students, recognized for his innovative contributions with awards like the Ohio District 10 Teacher of the Year in 2023, Adam's insights into AI emerging role in education are invaluable. Adam, we're eager to explore with you how AI is revolutionizing the way of teaching. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Good.
It's an honor to have you here, Adam, with your accolades and a book under your belt. A lot of our listeners love the Edu Protocols. So having one of the authors here on the podcast is awesome. And congratulations on that recognition as Teacher of the Year. That's amazing.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys having me on. So,
Absolutely.
in fact, I want to say this sounds terrible, but I had AI write that bio right there. So,
Oh, really?
yes.
I don't think you're the first one.
Because sometimes with conferences, when you get your proposal accepted, they want a brief bio or, hey, give us a 2-sentence bio. I don't have that kind of mental capacity right now. So I just take stuff and then just put it in AI and say, write this in 2 sentences, or here's all my info, write a bio or an intro for me. So I used AI to write that.
That's clever. And I relate to that. It's one of those things that you can knock off your list pretty quickly with AI, right?
Yes, correct. It's like all those little ins and outs when you're filling out those Google Forms for conferences or proposals or writing session descriptions. Those AI really helps me out because sometimes I just can't think of that stuff.
I like it. I'm going to steal that tip. Or as one of our coaches, Tracy, says, she says, harvest it. I might harvest that tip for the future.
Okay.
So Adam, jumping in a little bit, if you could start off, I'm super interested in particular in the context of this episode here, for our listeners to hear a little bit more about the consulting work that you're doing in AI. What does that work look like for you? In your blogs, what's been your focus there?
This consulting role, I take on the role of introducing AI to people. I know like more and more teachers have gotten on AI and they are exploring a little bit, but there's still a ton of teachers out there that are scared of it or they don't know how to access it. So that's where I come in. My role, as I see it, is to help people understand that AI isn't going anywhere. You can't run from it. You can't hide from it. But I try to share with teachers that think of something that you've always wanted to do in your classroom and you haven't been able to do it because now it's possible. And that's the approach that I take with AI. And I think some teachers immediately go to this idea that, oh, only students can use it. No, it can be your personal assistant. It can do things for you. So that's the approach that I take is, what can this do for you? And then eventually, what can it do for your classroom to make your life easier, to help you ultimately just teach better, work less? and get some results and improve engagement. So that's the approach that I take when I'm going out and working with other teachers or sharing ideas or working with other schools.
Yeah, that's great. That's very much what I also told teachers before. Dream big, right? Now that you potentially have some really great tool that can take some of that busy work out of it, that's an opportunity for us to dream big and do the things that we haven't thought of before. That's really cool. I really like how you're doing that push forward this way.
I was going to say, it just makes things so much easier throughout the school day. It's this stuff is so new, and I use it consistently throughout the day. I can use examples from like 90 minutes ago in class. I have a group of students in class that are from our MD unit, and I want to say like their reading level is probably at a first grade reading level, and we're learning about Alexander Hamilton, and National Bank. And I need to put something on their level about that. And so right before class started, I used AI to generate story format with Alexander Hamilton and the bank. And I said, hey, write it in a first grade level, put it into a table. And so then it put it into a table. I copied it to a Google Doc. I printed it right before class. I cut it up into pieces. And now they had to piece the story together. And so then I paired it up with an Edge of protocol where once they pieced the story together, now they transferred it to a slide. Then they added images to their story and retold Somebody Wanted But So Then with Alexander Hamilton and National Bank. But I did that in 3 minutes, right? So it starts with an idea and you just go with it. So it's just so practical and can help teachers do things on the fly. It can help personalize learning. It can help differentiate for everybody.
That's great.
No, we love the practical examples.
Yeah. And we definitely are seeing some praises here about AI, and we see all the positive things, but you said it too. There's still a lot of teachers that are very scared of that, and they're reluctant to dive into that topic more. How do you help someone get either over the hump, or maybe I should even ask before that, what if someone asks you, why do you think this is not just a fad? Why do you think that this is going to stay here as a tool?
Well, it kind of reminds me of the ed tech world where with educational technology, it's exploded. And there's all these things out there like Edpuzzle, Nearpod, Pear Deck, Canva. Like I can go on and on and on. People make diagrams and wheels to help organize ed tech tools for teachers. And there's so much of it out there. And I see that with the AI world right now. There's so much stuff out there that uses AI and has taken on AI. It first started with ChatGPT. And I know the first time that I presented about AI to the Hamilton County Service Center, it was just ChatGPT. And now my presentation has 6 AI tools. And then I teamed up with a buddy of mine and we presented AI at the National Council for Social Studies. And he had 6 tools that he likes that were completely different from the 6 tools that I like. And now I'm going to present next week, and I have a new tool that I want to add on there that I really like. So it's just, it's exploding, it's growing, it's not going anywhere. And you, like I said before, you can't run, you can't hide from it. And we have to help people understand how can this help them, right? Because you're always going to have your teachers that are never going to buy into this. And I get that. They're just not. Honestly, we can't waste our time trying to get these teachers that are never going to buy in. But we do have teachers that are all in, and we have teachers that are like, this sounds great, but how can it help me? Those are the people that we need to get after. We need to share with people, how can this help you? How can this help you differentiate for your students and just improve your overall teaching? And it's just a matter of exposing people to it, practical uses for it. So one thing I like to share is I use AI, and this is a practical use, everyday use. I think the most common thing that somebody would do is you would log into ChatGPT and say, write me a poem, write me a song, because that's what people want to see. But like for me, how can I get someone to connect to this with a practical use? Have it create a meal plan for your week. In my house, we have special diets. We have vegetarians, we have people that eat meat, we have all kinds of stuff. Why not get on ChatGPT and say, give me 3 meals for the week? And I do this, by the way. I meal plan, by the way, with ChatGPT. I say, give me 3 meals, vegetarian meals for the week. I don't like mustard.
Good.
I don't like vinegar. And I have a whole list of stuff that I don't like. I'm picky about things. Then I say I want it to share ingredients because I don't want a big grocery list. And it creates 3 meals that share ingredients, and my grocery list is really small. And I'm saving money. So if you can get someone using it to find how it can make their life easier, I think that's just the way to do it. And then you just build from there. So
Yeah, I think it's on, to be completely honest with you, I have literally thought and said a lot of the same things that you've done. When initially I saw people use AI to make little poems and everything like that, I'm like, that's really cool and all, but for me the first step was like, oh, maybe we can make it build surveys, for example, because I can make those very personalized. And it's like this
yeah.
entryway to the first experience that you're going to have, I think, introduces you to AI, and then you follow that kind of passion. Was that your first passion project?
No, it was just something I thought of along the way. The first time I heard about AI was from my buddy Jake Carr, who's from Northern California. He's a fellow Edge Protocol guy. Had a video on TikTok, and he would talk about this controversial thing called ChatGPT. And this was back in January. I saw this video, and I was like, "Ooh, I like controversial. I want to check this out." And I checked it out, and I did what everyone else did. I was like, "Hey, write me a song, write me a poem or something in this way." But my mind works and functions in the way of, okay, this is pretty cool. I wonder what else it can do. I wanted to see how it could help me. And so I just started thinking of ideas like, write me some Mad Libs. Can you make a historical Mad Lib about the Louisiana Purchase? And then boom, it like whipped one out. And I was like, oh, what else can I do? And I went from there, and I just started thinking of all this stuff that is so hard for me to think of sometimes as a teacher. Create an odd one out. Give me 4 things and have it do an odd one out where students can debate which one needs to come out, or create questions for GimKit and things like that. So it started with that, and then it's just my mind thinking and building and just trying to make my life easier, really.
That's awesome. Adam, I'm curious. You mentioned Jake and being a fellow Edu Protocol guy, and he's the one who first got you involved in AI. So I'd love to get your take. One, if you could first share for anyone who's not familiar with the Edu Protocol series and what these books are, if you could give like a super quick summary pitch of what the Edu Protocols are, and then
Mhm.
follow that up, if you would, with how do you see AI impacting some of the edu protocols from your experience that you've written maybe in your book, but where does AI fit into some of these edu protocols? Does it make you rethink them? Does it enhance them? Is there just a whole new world of possibilities now?
Yeah. So with Edge protocols, for anyone unfamiliar with it, Edge protocols, it's a pedagogy. It's a style of teaching. It is not a curriculum, but you can take your existing curriculum and wrap Edge protocols around it. You can use your textbook. You can pull articles offline. You can use AI to generate articles if you want and wrap Edge protocols around those. But they are just student-centered lesson frames that include using repetition and building reps into your weekly routine just to help students focus on some skills of writing skills or reading skills, things like that, or math skills even. So in a nutshell, that's what Edge protocols are. And so with AI paired with Edge protocols, I'll give some examples here. I might have to share some of what these individual protocols are, but for example, one of the Edge protocols, and they have these goofy names, and it has these names because, if I were to say, "Hey, we're going to do a cyber sandwich," every student knows what a cyber sandwich is because we've done it, and it's the creativity behind that from John and Marlena that created Edge protocols. So, like a cyber sandwich, for example, I try to do those once a week because that's the repetition piece. And with a cyber sandwich, students read for 10 minutes and they take notes, and then they will discuss for and compare their notes with a partner for about 5 minutes, and then they just write a summary for 10 minutes. So students are creating their own notes, discussing and comparing with a partner, and then they are writing a summary, which, like, I'll throw some Marzano in here. Those are Marzano's 2 high yield strategies or instructional strategies: summarizing and then note taking and comparing.
Mhm.
And a cyber sandwich hits on that. But here's where AI can enhance that. So AI can generate articles for a cyber sandwich. and I can generate first grade level articles for students, third grade level. I can go up to 12th grade level if I need to. So AI can enhance it from that perspective. Sometimes I will take a section out of the textbook and I will ask AI what text structure is being used in this textbook section, and it will tell me, and then I can structure the note taking to fit with the text structure. So if it's a sequence text structure, I can change the notes on there to be a sequence structure. With the summary part, I can use AI to grade their summaries and give feedback, which I do routinely. I will put up a rubric on Claude and I will run student paragraphs through Claude. And sometimes I do it all at once. Sometimes I'll do it individually. But then with the rubric, I will then write in the prompt. I had 8th grade students write, and I'll just use something recent, write a paragraph on how the Constitution is a model for limited government. Attached is my rubric. I want you to score it based on topic sentences, 3 or more details, and a concluding sentence. And I want you to give positive feedback because sometimes the feedback sounds a little bit harsh, but when
Yeah.
you tell it to do positive feedback, I have found it's a little bit more upbeat and a little more tailored towards 8th grade. And so then I grade their paragraphs. But here's the important part I want to share with everybody, though. And I'll say this too, like I have my eyes on it and I can catch things, right? Being able to edit responses from AI is going to be a super important skill. Writing prompts and being able to edit AI responses. Those are the 2 skills that we're all going to need. And I catch it sometimes because it'll give a really awesome score to something that I know is not a 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5. And I'll call it out. I'll say, that's not a 4 out of 5 to me. And it'll go, you're right. And then it'll go back and rethink it. And I'll say, it doesn't have a
That
topic
just made
sentence.
me
It
feel
doesn't.
kind of bad for it. Like, it's like, oh man, got me.
I'm scolding it. Yes.
Yeah.
But I go back and tell it what I think is wrong with it, and then it goes back and readjusts and fixes it. You have to keep your eyes on it, and you have to be able to edit the responses and teach it, basically. I know that sounds really weird, but you got to teach it. But that's how AI can enhance protocols and just the generation of articles, the differentiation piece, the giving feedback piece. It's changing the game right now. And I'll even say this too, because I know some people might push back on you're using that to grade stuff, and there's no doubt in my mind that they're grading state tests with AI. Like I don't honestly, if they're not, they will be. And I know somebody I was mentoring here did their resident educator program. They submitted their responses, and then they got a grade back in 10 minutes. There's no way someone read all that and gave you a grade. It has to be graded by AI. There's no way.
Yeah, I do think you hit on an important piece, at least for where AI is at right now, of having your eyes on it and how key and important that is. We know that AI will make stuff up just to please us and fill in with the text. So I do think that is to push back on anyone who might be critical of that. Of you can spend more time and give more tailored feedback, even though AI is generating it. But as long as you, as the teacher, is still looking over it and giving it your blessing or your thumbs up, yep, this is accurate. I would say this too. I don't see anything wrong with trying to make the most of your time from an instructional standpoint for your students.
Yeah. I'll share another thing too. I wanted to see where my students' writing was from September until now. And I have students submit writing samples through a Google form, and I capture all their paragraphs in a spreadsheet. I'll put September's paragraphs up, and I had January's paragraphs up, and I wanted to see, I said, give me some qualitative and quantitative data about these student paragraphs. And I put in there our focus of topic sentences, details, concluding sentence. I just want good, basic, solid paragraphs. That's it. And what I found when it was giving feedback is it referred to only 13 or 14 lines. And I asked it a question. I said, what do you mean by 14 lines? And it only gave me data on the first 14 paragraphs is basically what it told me, not the 100 paragraphs that I submitted. So I went back and I said, I need you to analyze all 100 paragraphs from both samples, and then the data was drastically different than what it gave to me. So that's just another example of what may seem really good. You got to really be able to catch those things and then tell it and teach it that when it's doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think you hit a point earlier that I wanted to pick up again. You said that there are some things that we need to teach about AI and the way that we use it. For example, how we have to learn how to go to the back button and edit our last prompt, for example. What are some other things do you think that we need to teach teachers about using AI?
Honestly, I think we need to educate them in a way so they can have educated conversations with students about AI. Because I think the quick reaction to a student using AI when you don't know what it is or what you're talking about is, oh, you're using AI. How dare you? I'm going to write you up. And that's the quick response. And I've seen kids using AI this year, and I'll share a couple of stories. I actually share these stories with some of my schools that I've gone to. So I had a student this year that said, "Hey, Mr. Miller, I got written up today." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." He goes, "Yeah, I was using AI. I used AI to generate my poem." And I go, "Why'd you do that?" He goes, "I didn't know what I was doing." And I went, "Okay." I said, "Maybe you should not use AI to do your work for you." But here's where I think our teachers need to be educated on this is he was wrong to use AI to do his work. I will admit that. But here's where I stepped in and I said, here are some ideas for you. Why not ask your teacher how to write your poem and then do it yourself and then ask AI for feedback? Or why not just type it in or type your poem and ask it for some different ideas? Or why not ask AI itself, how do I write a poem, and give me an example? And they went, oh, I never thought of it in that way. And it's like those conversations need to be had with our students because, again, they're curious with it and they are using it more and more. But we need to educate ourselves to be able to have those conversations instead of just the quick, oh, I'm going to write you up. How dare you? Blah, blah, blah. So
I think that's a great.
That's great.
We're going to take a really quick break and we're going to hand it over to our sponsors. And then we're going to be right back with more conversations about AI with Adam Mohler.
Looking for a program that reaches all teachers in learning new tools to integrate in their lessons? Edu Badges is the answer. Edu is an anytime, anywhere badging program that is designed to take bite-sized tools for instruction and teach teachers how to use them. Edu has received the ISTE Seal of Alignment for educator standards, and each badge in our expanding library is aligned to the ISTE standards and the SAMR model. Learn more about the program that teachers call addicting at forward-edge.net/edubadges.
Calling all instructional coaches. Join Forward Edge for Coaches Camp in summer of 2024. Coaches Camp is packed with high-quality professional development exclusively for you. Attendees will work with like-minded coaches on creating strategies for building teacher relationships, executing coaching cycles, and building a culture of coaching and tech integration within their school district. There are 2 opportunities to attend Coaches Camp in the summer of 2024. You can either join us virtually July 22nd through 24th, or come to Cincinnati on July 29th and 30th. Please visit forward-edge.net/coachcamp to reserve your spot today.
Welcome back to Restart Recharge. We are here with Adam Mohler talking about AI in education, building AI literacy in our schools, and learning a little bit about what it is like to be in a future where there's going to be AI in every single corner potentially. So let's go back a little bit to teaching teachers and learning about AI. I think your last example was great because it showed so much about how we need to talk to our students about it, how it's going to be relevant. And in a lot of ways, a tool is a tool is a tool, right? It's about building the context around it and allowing some transparency. If you use AI, then just say so. And at least we understand, but you understand that there's contexts in which you can use it and in which you can't use it. Any other rules or advice or things that we can take to our teachers, things that they should know before they jump into the deep end with the AI?
I think they need to know you can't trust everything that it produces. And I'm going to keep saying it. You need to be able to edit responses. I think Teachers need to understand that their students are curious about it, and it's there can be tons of uses for it, but you have to, I don't know, you have to think outside the box a little bit. And making your students write on paper to avoid it is not going to help. Making your students do everything on paper is not going to help. Writing students up for using it is not going to help. But I just need to keep saying, you need to educate yourselves to have conversations with your students about it.
Adam, I'd like to dig a little bit deeper into that. Aside from like specific skills or specific tools, that's not what I'm asking. What's your recommendation to build that literacy among the staff to educate themselves? What are some, maybe thinking about our audience, instructional coaches that listen to the podcast? They're often doing group professional development. They're often working with teachers in a one-on-one setting, right? They're often at a K-12 level across the entire district, or even working with multiple buildings within the district. They work with administrators, right? So they have this really great opportunity to be this middle ground and connect stakeholders and really help build AI literacy with their staff. But what are some ways that you're seeing schools find success with sparking that curiosity with their teachers and their staff to even bring them on board to want to educate themselves?
Well, this school I was at up in Syracuse is one of the top 4 districts in New York, and they have fully embraced AI. The whole day was about AI. And I think it starts with administrators, honestly, using the AI tools and for whatever it is they need to use it for, analyzing data, emails, things like that. Because once it starts with administrators, then it starts to trickle its way down. And from administrators, you can divide a school up into thirds. A third of your teachers are the really excited teachers. A middle third are the teachers that are like, yeah, it's cool, but how will this help me? And then your bottom third are like your teachers that are like, no way, I don't think so. Not going to happen. And so once your administrators start to use it, let that trickle down to those excited teachers that can then start using AI. Let them explore a little bit. And their curiosity, hopefully, will move into that middle third. And it's not going to happen like overnight, right? It's a process. But I think it starts with that. You have to have your admin team fully embrace it, share it with your excited third of your building, decide who that is, and then just let it trickle in from there through the staff from there. And we need to be, again, we just need to have educated conversations about it, exposing teachers to it, and getting rid of some of these myths surrounding AI. I know, like in some of my presentations, I share with teachers some statistics from the Walton Foundation from, now I have to see if they're updated now, because the stats I got are from like late July or like early August, somewhere around there. But the stats are eye-opening for teachers because they realize that students really aren't using AI as much as they think. And teachers actually have embraced AI more than they think. And so that's how I start off my presentations, is trying to get rid of some myths that surround it. But I think that combination of stuff can really help a school and teachers educate themselves and then pass it on to others and have more educated conversations.
Yeah.
So we always in our episode at the end, we want to take 3 takeaways for our coaches that they can immediately put into action, something they can use right off the bat. So Adam, what kind of 3 tips you got for our listeners today?
So first thing I would say is edit your responses. Edit the responses from AI. Be able to have an eye, look for those things, and don't be afraid to call it out. Just, I know it sounds weird, but call it out, teach it, and get better results that way. I think the next tip for AI would be to use it for differentiating, using different reading levels. But here's the thing, though. One tip I haven't even shared yet is before you even ask it. So before I even ask AI to write something at a 400 lexile level, I'm going to ask it first, what do you know about Lexile levels? Because I want to see what it knows and what it tells me. So I'm going to build it up and educate it first before I have it do something for me. So I'll ask it, what do you know about Lexile levels? I'll read the response, and then I'll follow up and say, I would like you to convert this reading to a 400 Lexile level for me. And then you can even follow up with that. Whatever it is that you just wrote, what makes it a 400 Lexile level? Make it tell you why it wrote it in the way that it did. And that way you can cover all your bases and make sure you're getting the best results. And then my third tip would be, we can't be afraid of this. We have to expose students to it. And I'll share this story here as to why. So I have and by the way, like ChatGPT and Claude are hard to like share with students, right? But there's an AI site called Pi. Have you guys heard of Pi? Pi.ai?
I have not, no.
Yeah, Pi is really easy just to get students on board with. And it's set up as like a conversationalist, or you can hit the discover button up on the side and it says brainstorm ideas, vent, or all these different things. And you can use it to converse with. What I have found is I've been like hesitant with my students at school, but I'm starting to slowly use it more and more with my students here. But I have a student in my first bell who is on the spectrum and doesn't communicate that well. But I noticed that the student communicates with AI. I showed him Pi, and he's been using it to communicate with. And I've shown him things such as, tell me this like I'm a fourth grader, or simplify this explanation, or he's into anime. And he says, explain this to me like this anime character that he really likes. So he's like making these personalized connections, because ultimately that's what our future is going to be with AI. You can personalize learning for students. And that's what he is doing over there. And he doesn't always do his work, but he is understanding things, and he's doing more things than he ever has before, because I've shown him a couple of things and he's putting it on his level. And he's not afraid to ask AI questions, whereas he might be afraid to speak up to me.
Yeah,
So-
I love that you're helping him take ownership for himself too, right? So not just helping our teachers learn how to do this for our students, which is phenomenal, but I do like the translation of even helping the students and take advantage of the benefits for themselves too.
But yeah, those are my 3 tips for everybody going into wanting to use AI or teach people more about AI.
Awesome.
Adam, that's great. How can people get a hold of you or follow you or tell us your blog address? Where can they buy the book? How can people find you after the podcast?
So you can email me, and I tell everybody you get free lifetime support with me. Feel free to email me anytime. It's Adam J. Huh?
That's good service.
What's up?
Free lifetime support. Wow.
Yeah.
It's Adam J. Mohler at gmail.com. So feel free to email me.
And how will you spell Mohler, please?
Yeah, Moler. My blog is molersmusings.wordpress.com. And every Friday I reflect on my week. I've been doing that for 2.5 years now. I share all my resources and share my lessons for the week and reflect on how my week went of teaching. And I'm happy to share anything with anybody. So it's all there. You can find me on, I don't want to call it X. I can't call it X.
We don't either.
I'm on Twitter. I'm on
I'm there
Twitter.
too, yeah.
It's in the Hall of Fame as Twitter here on this podcast.
Yes, I refuse to say X. I'm on Twitter, people, at Mohler3031, and active on Facebook as well. So then you can find Edge Protocol books on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and I've always thought this was pretty cool. You can find it at Target and Walmart too. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Adam, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you. I think we've gotten so much cool advice and cool tips, as well as application ideas for our teachers. Thank you so much for being here and talking to us.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Adam. Have a good one.
Thanks for spending time with us today. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with an educator friend.
And connect with us on social media at RRCoachCast to let us know what you thought of the episode and what topics you want us to discuss next.
New episodes drop every other Tuesday. Be sure to subscribe to Restart Recharge wherever you listen to podcasts.
So press the restart button,
Recharge your coaching batteries, and leave feeling equipped and inspired to coach fearlessly with the Restart Recharge podcast.
a Tech Coach Collective.